would be really sad if I didn't press record. Okay, now you may begin, gentlemen.
What you say? You ready? Jody, you ready?
Now I am.
Kevin, you ready?
I'm ready.
Hello and welcome to Disney with the Ducks. I'm your host for tonight, Lonnie G, and I am joined by a great group of high-performing ducks. That's what it's about. Jody B, how are you doing today?
Hello, friends.
Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is Kevin's back-to-back show. So he was on last week and he's on this week. So
That's right.
hey guys,
Woo!
And I'm wearing the same shirt.
make sure that
Just a complete coincidence, that's for sure.
well, it's hard to remember what you wore last week, right? I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah.
And the man, the myth, the dopey legend, Mean Gene. How are you, Mean Gene?
I'm good. I'm good. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that we're a great group, but I'll take it.
Well, great group with Jody and Kevin,
For sure,
and
for
a
sure.
mediocre group with Gene. But
Mediocre.
here we go. So this is episode 151. This is the Run Disney Marathon Weekend recap part 2 or part due, the half and the full marathon. Before we get started, though, guys, if you like what you hear, our ask is simple. Just go into your podcatcher of choice and please give us 5 stars. Give us a rating. It helps with the algorithm, helps other people find us. And look, I think after Marathon Weekend, we're up to 5 listeners. If we can get to 7 listeners by 2027, it'll be all worthwhile. So go into your podcatcher of choice. Please give us 5 stars. If you have a review for us, we'll ask that you would leave it. If it's a good one, send it to Jody. If it's a bad one, send it to Gene. And there we go. We'll work like that. So, but before we get started, we always like to ask a question so you can get to know the ducks. And this question is very timely, and that is, are you participating in Run Disney Marathon Weekend 2026? What races you're running, and why is it dopey? Jody?
I have every intention of being there next year, and I hope to run dopey.
Nice. Kevin, putting you on the spot.
That's okay. So the FOMO from this year, was just through the roof. I was watching from the sidelines. Usually I've been there every year when I've been able to. Had a rough go. The last time I attempted dopey, didn't make it. And I've got revenge. I've got to get that dwarf. I'm going to chase him down, and I'm going to get that medal again. If it's 2026, there he is. Yeah, that's right. And so going to chase him down. And if it's 2026, if that's what you guys are doing, I want back in. So I need to get my revenge.
Nice.
All Star Wars stories have good revenge.
Lots of revenge. And speaking of revenge, someone who knows that revenge is a dish best served cold, and it was very cold at Marathon Weekend. Mean Gene, you got your revenge, but are you in for Dopey 2026?
That's what Shakespeare said in the original Cleon. Revenge is a dish best served cold. But I think that I was told that that Dopey was an every 2-year thing. So my plans were not for 2026. I was thinking about maybe doing a different race, maybe a wine and dine, maybe a springtime surprise, maybe something. I don't know. We'll see. It's a long way to any kind of registrations.
You're right. So we'll see you at Dopey 2026. I am out for Dopey. I'm going to just sit in the back. If I do go, I'm going to probably just get a room on the boardwalk and watch you guys run by. Of course, it's a quiet zone, so I can't yell at you guys. But on Marathon Day, you can actually talk on the boardwalk then. So I'll just cheer you guys on then. But no, I'll be sleeping in. So there you go. So thanks, guys, for sharing your thoughts for 2026. And we're going to get, like I said, this is part 2. So last episode 150, we talked about the 5K and the 10K. We're going to dive a little deeper into the races and our activities, because this is the half and the granddaddy of them all, the full we're talking about. So half marathon, 13.1 miles on Saturday. Jody, what is the biggest takeaway? What did you do? How did you approach the half marathon?
With a poncho.
With the poncho.
Uh-oh, I don't like that.
Oh,
Nothing. Oh, that's so bad. With a poncho. Start the day
guess
off
what I
with a
forgot,
poncho.
Kevin?
You forgot the poncho.
Yep.
Oh,
And a
no.
Mylar blanket does a very poor job of doubling as a poncho.
It just
It
like
does.
sticky. It's like the stuff that you peel off of the imitation cheese, right? Whenever you're making a grilled cheese, it just
Yep.
gets stuck to you. Like,
Yep, that's right.
Kevin, exactly. I'm gonna tell you, man, it stormed. First off, it was cold, but it
It wasn't
stormed.
cold. It wasn't cold like the first 2 mornings or the morning after.
Gene,
So
it
wasn't cold.
was in the 40s. 40s, rain is cold. I don't know.
It was
Maybe
not in
I'm
the
thin
40s.
skinned. It was in the 40s.
You are thin skinned. It was not in the 40s.
It was 48 degrees when we got out there.
No.
48. And it was cold. And it rained. And it rained. And it rained. And it wasn't a little rain. It was borderline monsoon. It came on an angle. It
man.
literally like 45-degree angle to get under your poncho. And on top of that, so prime example, we met this young lady in the corral. She was bundled up under her Nylar blanket and had it like a tent over her head. And she stood up and said, "My shorts are soaking wet. It didn't stop the rain." And I'm like, that's just, I'm sorry. I know what to say. We didn't nilly. We blame it on the rain. But it rained a lot, at least for an hour. What you think, about an hour?
More than that. It started raining. It started raining before we got to the corrals, and then it's corral for 2 dang hours. An hour and a half at least.
So you're standing in the rain for 2.5 hours.
Well, I sat down with it around, and what are you going to do?
You're gonna get wet. That's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna
That's
tell
a
you,
good thing it wasn't 30 degrees.
I had a heating thing on my back, because my back was so cold and wet. My back was starting to tighten up.
That's kind of dangerous. I mean, being that wet and the cold, and yeah.
But it did stop right before the race started, so we had that going for us.
Yeah.
Jody, what do you think about that? What corral were you in?
Well, I was supposed to be an A, but I was a good wife, so I started in B.
If you, and this is a rhetorical question, but if you claim that you're a good wife and have to say it, are you a good wife?
Mm-hmm. I am. Yes, I am. Because
okay, I just didn't know. I mean, look.
Listen, I don't know if you remember, but Tim crossed the finish line before me on the 10K the day before. And he crossed every touch point on every race before me. And I had to remind him at the half marathon, he was not allowed to go across the finish line ahead of me. So yeah, I'm saying I was a good wife.
So you made Tim slow down so that he couldn't cross the finish line? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Because you said you reminded him that he couldn't cross.
I was like, don't you cross that finish line ahead of me again. So anyway, yes, it was pouring rain in the corrals. Finally, when the race started, the rain stopped, which was nice.
So I was looking at the all my FOMO. I was looking at the maps and that kind of thing, because I'm crazy about maps. Did they change the way the race started? Wasn't it different than what it usually is?
Yeah, so no more walking out to the end of the eternity to start the half marathon and marathon.
Okay.
It's the same exact start line as the 5K and the 10K, which is nice. That's
nice.
No more 5-mile trek out to.
Yeah, at least you're close to the bathrooms and things like that. I mean, yeah.
That's a very good point, which Kevin's making. There was significant course changes for this race as compared to the previous year. And to Jody's point, there was a point when you had to walk out at least 1.5 miles, felt like 5 miles. out to the start line, but now the start line is at the same spot that the 5K and 10K. And to me, that's a plus.
And the finish line too, right? The same parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. So they
very
kudos
efficient.
to Disney for seeing that and kind of keeping your legs a little fresh, right? So so we're taking off. I think it was microwaves again, microwaves in regards to, they had several different mini waves that came out of, say, Corral A and Corral B and Corral C, right? So same thing how they did that. I think we're in the Gene, I think we fell back as well. So we're in E, and we're in the second wave of E. So we took off pretty quick. I think they might have had maybe in a minute in between race corrals. You think
it was F? It was F.
Oh, we're in F.
Yeah,
I can't even remember, man. It's just so many corrals, just so many. So anyway, we took off. We started rolling. Jody was texting us, letting us know what characters, because she was way up in front of us. But out of characters, what do you think with the characters for this race, Jody B?
I was happy with them. First of all, I want to give a shout out. I got to run with a new friend, Ashley. I not met her before, and we met in the corral. She's a lizard. We met in the corrals, and Rick ran with us, and that was a lot of fun. I love running with new friends, people who you don't really know, and get to know them and get to know their stories, and that's always really special to me. So that for certain was my highlight of that race, just having a new friend to run with and get to know her. Plus, it was nice to have a girl around because normally there's not a lot of us. So that I really enjoyed. I thought the characters for the half marathon were pretty cool. I will say my favorite part of the course may not have been your favorite part of the course because we experienced them at different times. So we ran backwards this time, Kevin. So we went towards.
So you came in through the railroad tracks on the backside.
We came by Grand Floridian. So
right. So you went Cone Alley.
That was awful. Cone Alley
was reverse.
Under construction and dark and terrible. And I don't know about when you guys went through, but there was a police car and its lights were going off, and it was really trippy. Like it was not comfortable at all.
That's awful.
Really with your vision and
the road was wet, so it's reflecting off the road too, I'm sure.
Yeah, dark, wet, crowded,
and muddy. So it was
man.
And because with the blue lights, to Jody's point, I think I said to Gene, I said, man, somebody's gonna have a seizure out here. These lights flashing like that, right? I mean, it was dark, and they had cones every now and then because they had something in the road. So that was a big cone somebody ran into, and you had to walk in certain sections because it had so many people, right? So that was a different section right there that you came through. That was different, and by the time we came through, they did have a lot of people. So you're right, Jody. It was pretty. It was different.
Yeah, that's a bad area that early in the race because there's just not a lot of room. Yeah.
And then we went from the Grand Flow, and then we took the new pathway over to the Magic Kingdom. Again, I'm going to speak about my experience, and I'd like for Lonnie and Jean to talk about yours. Our experience was fine. We were able to run. We had enough room to maneuver. Probably my absolute favorite thing, Kevin, I don't know if you saw it on the socials, but the electrical water pageant was out. That was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
That was so special to me. That was one of Lindsay's very favorite things when she was a little girl. So seeing that during the race, like, choked me up, and I was
such a great idea.
That was really, really, really cool. Again, our experience, we had no problem through that area. Now we were there at 6:00 in the morning, so it was okay. Now, Lonnie and Jean, you want to talk about your experience going from Cone Alley up to the electrical water pageant and getting to the Kingdom?
Yeah. So when you come to have like not a hairpin, but there's a curve where you have to actually get onto the pad from Grand Floridian. And that got really crowded, right? But I did like the electrical water parade. And another thing that made it crowded was, and needed to have it, but there was a water stand right there, right? So you had a combination of people stopping for water. Then they had a medical tent right there too. So you're doing all that, people, and then the people trying to walk by. So it did make it where it was you couldn't run by the time we got there, right? But still, the thing that was pretty cool about it is the fact that, number one, you did see the electrical water parade, and we came into Magic Kingdom a different way, right? So we came in from the other side So we came in from the left side instead of the right side, like traditionally, right? So that was pretty cool that coming from that side. And then, of course, do that little loop and run down Main Street, right? So yeah, it's pretty good. So we ran through it. I think we had more time in Magic Kingdom with this
We had
course.
a ton, yeah.
So that was actually really good. The fact that we had a lot of time in Magic Kingdom as compared to, in previous races when you look like you just was in one side, took a turn, a couple of turns, and you're out. This time we ran all through Magic Kingdom and got in line for pictures. When you ran through the back of the castle, got in line for pictures for in front of the castle. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
So
the crazy thing about it is while we're in line for pictures, somebody rode up in a bike and said, "The balloon ladies just entered the kingdom." And we're like, we were trying to factor in. It was like, how are the balloon ladies in Magic Kingdom if they started back and we couldn't, but then again, we were standing there for pictures and we saw them. So yes, they were in Magic Kingdom.
Wow, they were trucking.
They were trucking.
I don't remember any of this. None of it.
Well, you were right there with me, so I'm just speaking for Gene.
No.
Okay. Do you remember the bathroom? Do you remember the bathrooms you went to? Okay, so it's after the bathroom.
I will say, Kevin, so we went through the course backwards in Magic Kingdom. So we entered Adventureland, ran by Pirates, ran by Tiana's and Big Thunder, came around, ran through the castle, backwards this time.
Toward the carousel.
Yeah, ran through the castle and then back out towards no, I'm sorry. We ran through the castle like we normally do, but instead of veering off to Adventureland, we veered off to Tomorrowland. So we ended in Tomorrowland. This is kind of funny. All of a sudden I'd been saying like I want to go to the bathroom in Magic Kingdom, like a real bathroom. So all of a sudden we see Carousel Progress. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're about to leave Magic Kingdom. We didn't go to the bathroom. So we turn around and completely backtrack. Like we probably went a good half mile out of our way to go to the bathroom because you kind of forget because you ran it backwards.
Right.
Like, gosh, now we're leaving. We don't want to be leaving yet. We need to turn around. So we ran all the way back to like the Tomorrowland, where the Venus and Mars, whatever that shop is. But
over by Teacups.
And that was kind of weird because we were like the only people in Tomorrowland like there. That was strange. That was a little goofy, but that was cool. Flynn dissed me again. That was my big takeaway there. At the Rapunzel bathroom, they had Rapunzel and Flynn. Last year, Flynn wasn't there. He dissed me. This year, right when we go for our picture, Flynn goes on a break and dissed. And I have a thing for Flynn, so that made me really, really sad that I didn't get to see him again. But characters were good. Everything was good. It was just Magic Kingdom's always fun. So
the highlight for me is having a hitchhiking ghost in Adventureland, kind of like on the top here, and they're doing a whole hitchhiking thing, a little skit.
That's cool.
Yeah, they
really
were.
Cool.
Country Bears. They were where the
right over top of Country Bears. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you weren't looking for them, you could easily have run right past them. We kind of went past them, like, oh my gosh, there's Hitchhiking Ghost. So then we stopped and got a picture with them.
That's cool.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean those characters, love them, right? So you don't get to see them in the park. So really, really enjoyed seeing them. And we actually stopped there for a minute and really took it all in.
Yeah.
Then ran out the traditional course. Ran by the TTC, you're going backwards, right? So you're doing it the reverse way, going out. I will tell you this though. I don't know if it was the combination of the rain, the wet shoes. I don't know what it was, but at mile 10, I felt like horrible. I was like, you know what? My knee hurt, my back hurts. It was the last 3 miles was rough for me.
That's a lot of road too, right there to end it.
A lot of road to end it. We went back into Epcot, did that, came out, finished the race. Hey, took a picture with the race announcers, the Pelkey, all of them, took a picture with them. Love those guys. See them a lot. I love how they at the finish line to really kind of motivate you. So took a picture with them and finished the race. Gene, any highlights from the half for you? Gene and I ran together, my daughter Katie and Sarah. So it was 4 of us. And look, shout out to the Lizards. Florence, the rest of it, they were all over the course. It was good to see Ray. He ran the half. So real good to see him. Haven't seen him in a while. But the Lizards were all over the course. They were going here, there. So shout out to them. You know, that was some great support as always that they give. So to be our guest Lizards, listen to the podcast, join the running group. A bunch of runners there, a bunch of Lizards were there. But yeah, anything stands out for you, Gene, in regards to the half?
I mean, just the support of the Lizards on the race, was great. And, Sarah ran with us. Sarah's parents were a couple places on the race course.
Yeah.
They teleported or something. I don't even understand. But
they're really good about that. They figure out ways to get where they need to be.
Mm-hmm. It's very encouraging. The half is I think it's the absolute perfect distance. I really enjoy the half.
I agree.
And just encouraging to see people, the Lizards and like I said, Sarah's parents. And so that's just really fun. It's a good race. I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy being wet. I didn't enjoy the first part of it. My feet and shoes were wet that whole race. And I never blister, but I did that race.
It's the first time for everything.
That's right. Just being wet, I'm sure. But it was a good race. It wasn't like blister that I couldn't finish. I didn't even know. I mean, I could tell that it was rubbing or whatever. And it was, just a little annoying, but I didn't think much of it until I took my shoes and socks off and saw. And so it was fine. But it was a good day altogether.
Yeah. Good day. Took our pictures as always, headed to the buses. Now for this day, we actually all decided to see other people. So we all did something different, right? So we went in, showered. We decided to take a little nap. Katie and I, she wasn't feeling that well. And like I said, this half was hard on me. I don't know why. Like I said, I think it was the combination of wet shoes. Number one, I hate running. The only thing I hate more than running is running when it's cold. And on top of that, the thing I hate even more, Gene, what's the word for hating even more than what you hate?
Loathe? I don't know.
I loathe running in the rain, right? Or running when I'm wet. So this was a combination. So this race was real hard. So we went back, showered up. I think I might have took a hot shower for about an hour. I don't know. I might have drained I don't know. But anyway, hopped into bed because Katie said she wanted to take a nap. So we decided just take a nap and sleep in, which usually we don't. I always say keep kind of walking on the legs. I went completely opposite of the advice I usually give people and hopped into bed. Jody, what did you go do though?
So
Saturday.
We decided not to take our bus back to our resort. Instead took the bus back with Ashley and Rick and went back to Pop. And I will just want to go on the record. The welcome back party at Pop is legit. They had
it's the best.
They had a red carpet. They had water. They had a backdrop photo shoot thing. They had bubbles. They had, of course, Myra was there, and she's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's the best.
I think they had, it was a party at Pop, and that welcome back ceremony was phenomenal. And so we went to Pop because, as Kevin, as you know, what does Tim love at Pop Century?
He loves the breakfast.
He loves that bagel
breakfast sandwich. Yep.
So we went to Pop and we got the bagel sandwich. We had breakfast with Rick and Ashley, and then we took the Skyliner.
I was right there. Y'all didn't call me. I was right there. But that's okay.
I don't know where you were.
I was right there. Right there, Pop. Right there.
Anyway, we had breakfast with them. We went back.
I was probably still racing, actually.
Showered. I then had to go to the expo because I was getting my hair braided by someone who was raising money for her charity bib. And I wanted my hair braided for the next day. So then I left our room, went to the expo. Tim slept, and he slept big time. He slept from like 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Wow.
So after
sounds like a nice nap.
Yeah.
Mhm.
After the expo, I went straight to, well, I thought I was going to the Contemporary because I thought that's where the Lizard meetup was. Luckily, I was on the phone with Dave. And Dave was like, "You didn't see the Lizard Expo got moved to the Polynesia, or I was going to go to Poly." And he's like, "It got moved to the Contemporary." So luckily, I was on the phone with Dave and he told me it got moved to Contemporary. I left the expo, got on the Contemporary bus, which then went to Fort Wilderness campsite, and then
Oh,
and then to Fort Wilderness, and then to the Contemporary. It took
oh
me an
man.
hour to get to the meetup, the Lizard meetup. It took forever. So
Ugh.
I saw Jean, at least I was sitting. That was good news.
Mhm.
Jean, you came to the meetup, right?
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
It
I
was
had a
nice.
fantastic
Always
I
burger.
didn't. I did not. I did not come. I was sleeping. I woke up and I think it was almost over. I woke my daughter up. I said, "Look, it's about 3:30. We can go to the." I said, "I don't know what time it ends. It may be ending right now." I think I text Gene. He said they just finished taking a picture. So like, just like if you don't have the picture, it's not true, right? You weren't there. So we decided. I asked her what she wanted to do, and she said, "I'm kind of hungry." We're staying at the boardwalk, so we decided to because we did have blue ribbon corn dogs on Wednesday. So we got a corn dog from there. I'm sorry, Tuesday. Tuesday got a corn dog from Blue Ribbon, which is pretty good, right on the boardwalk. The boardwalk doesn't have a lot of places really to eat. That's the one thing about it. Pop to me is the ultimate in regards for the race. In fact, when you get to the boardwalk, Pop has all this stuff like Jody said. The boardwalk just like wipe your feet on the rug and go into your room, right? That's what they say. Don't just don't just track mud through here, right? So we decided to go back to catch the bus over to Disney Springs to get some polite pig.
Oh.
So we went to Polite Pig for lunch, and then when we came back from Polite Pig, or I should say, an early dinner by that time because we ate maybe about 4:30 or 5. We went to Kate Bake Shop. That is on the boardwalk. Man, look, so people talk about this place. It was kind of controversial, right? I mean, you got $25 pieces of cake, all that kind of good stuff. Let me just go on the record and say, I don't care what they say. It's not your money, it's Mickey's money. That place is good. So we got some desserts, right? I got the brownie. Brownie was pretty good. She got some cheesecake thing. But look, the inside that store, if you haven't been or you haven't gotten anything, and Cheryl actually told me at breakfast to go try it, right? She was like, you got to go try it. Cheryl's a lizard. She ate breakfast with us. We went and we thoroughly enjoyed it. So it gets 2 thumbs up for me. And even the ambiance, this is a great place. So we did that, and we had planned to be back to the room for 7:30. I think we got there at 8, right? So we made it and tried to get off our feet. So there you go.
Now, Jean, we all walked from the Contemporary over to Magic Kingdom. I went into Magic Kingdom, but you did not. What did you end up doing?
So my feet were killing me. I mean, I was miserable. My back hurt. My feet were killing me. And so I tried to sit down as much as I could at that little get together. It had a sandwich and, French fries and a hamburger and a Diet Coke. And then visited with some people. And then I got up out of there and went back to my room and I went to bed. And I think I got back to my room about 4 and I set an alarm for 6 because I needed to get up and eat something. And I set it for 6, and I woke up and I didn't I eat cheese and chips, like race cheese and chips, because I just did not even. Yeah, I woke up and I dozed off and on until the next morning. I mean, I dozed off and on until I finally fell asleep, and then got up the next morning for the race.
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't even have good dinner.
Well, I mean, you had chips, right? You had plastic
Yeah,
cheese and
I did.
chips. You can't
I
go
did.
wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
So this
I
is
went
it.
to Magic Kingdom and had dinner with Debbie Stevens, which was lovely,
Oh, like that.
and Sarah and her parents. I think that was all of us. Oh no,
And
Laura,
what did you guys eat?
Columbia Harbor House.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Nice.
sorry,
That's your
Laura and
go-to.
Sean were there. I'm lying. Laura and Sean joined us. It was lovely. It was easy. We were upstairs. We pushed a bunch of tables together. It was just us. We had like a private VIP room at Columbia Harbor House.
Mhm.
It was it was just, and it was interesting. We were talking about Sarah's parents and how they were trying to figure out race stuff. Debbie was trying to figure that out. Like, where do we go from here to there? So they were all talking about their race coordination the next day, how they were going to get to cheer at the marathon. And that's work, you guys.
Well, with the new course, especially.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was
because you got to kind of reverse that and figure out how to get around the roadblocks and everything else.
That is work. So that was our evening. So we got back at a reasonable time and, went to bed, get ready for the big day.
Did you say the big day?
The big day.
Well, here it is, guys. The big day, the marathon day, Sunday. Let me just say something. This might have been the coldest day.
Oh,
I don't know
there's
what
no
it
doubt.
was.
Oh, I don't think so.
To
You don't think so?
to me,
Oh, I
it
do.
was the coldest
I
day.
think the 5K was the coldest.
Well, I don't know about that because we had that big thick jersey on. I didn't have a lot of thick clothes on for this one. That might be why. I did have some throwaway clothes, but to me, it was the coldest day. To me, it was frigid. It was the tundra. I felt like I was running through Green Bay. I don't know. It was bad. It's a frozen tundra. But anyway, so yeah, marathon. Like we said, it started the same place that the 5K, 10K and a half did, which is good. We didn't have to walk out to, Universal to start the race. So
Half an hour earlier.
started a half an hour earlier. So started at 4:30.
4:30.
So you had to be there. They recommended that you be there for 3. At least that's what the bus thing said. But you don't.
Oh man.
And if you were in a back corral, you're trying to catch your
get
friends
there around 3:10, which allowed us to take pictures with all the mile markers, as well as to take a picture with Dopey. Yeah, him. So started the race. Jody B, you say it wasn't that cold. I had on a throwaway warm-up sweats. So how did the start of your marathon go?
I had on a throwaway sweatshirt and a throwaway garbage bag because that's what you do. And the garbage bag maybe is why I didn't feel so bad because it cuts down in the wind and everything. So I started off in that. I ripped the garbage bag off by mile 0.5 or something. I was pretty warm. Kept the sweatshirt on for a little while and then finally ditched that. Kept my gloves for most of the race, but I held on to them in my hands. I do that a lot when I run anyway. Just hold on to them. So yeah, so we started with Crystal, who I ran with in 23. She ran the first mile or two with us. Anthony, that was a big deal. He wanted to catch us, so we were telling him exactly where we were. So he found us at mile 1, maybe. And Rick was with us the whole time too, again, this marathon. So it was awesome. We were having a good old time. We were stopping for all the stuff, seeing all the lizards, doing all the things. The sunrise for the electrical water pageant was absolutely the most beautiful sunrise I think I've ever seen. That was really, really incredible. So that was, Magic Kingdom was awesome and all that good stuff. Probably our biggest story, it's not really my story to tell, but I'll just give a brief synopsis. We had a fellow lizard who was struggling at mile 13 and we went and picked him up and got him out of the medical tent and ended up running with us. So that was pretty epic. That was a special moment.
So what is the lesson from that?
Lizards run together.
Yeah, that's the number one lesson. But so that could have happened to me if I was by myself because I didn't have throwaway clothes. I didn't bring stuff. I don't want to bring this up, but because Lonnie's snickering there, Lonnie started in, he started in Corral D. I started in, I'm just slower, and so I got an F Corral and Sarah, kind-hearted, she's a true friend. She said she'd hang back with me. Lonnie ran ahead, told me he was going to walk until we caught. It took 21 miles for us to catch him. But anyway, I'm not bitter. It's only 21 miles, Kevin. Only 21 miles. He would text me a picture of the mile marker, and I'm like, dude, it's 14 minutes ahead of us. And the next time he's like 12 minutes, and then it was 13, and then it was 15. And I'm like, dude, at this rate, I'm not gonna catch you for 22 miles. Oh no, we're walking. You're gonna catch. We're walking. I'm like, there's no way. And so
I don't understand.
Anyway,
Kevin, what's going on here?
Can you mute him? Can you mute him, Jody? So anyway, my point though is with this lizard you're talking about. I've actually told this story many times over the last week that I didn't have throwaway clothes, and I should have, but I wasn't prepared with that. I wasn't prepared with a poncho. I left ponchos at home, and so that was a big mistake. And so I started off cold, but I got warm pretty quick. But it's easy to not get warm. And I think that happened to that person. But then the other thing is you can't run alone. And that person and I, that night, I'm like, why were you by yourself? He's like, I know. You don't run alone. You don't run alone. You don't, because I'd quit 100 times. I'd quit 100 times before I found Lonnie at 22. For sure.
Especially the marathon. Especially the marathon.
Absolutely.
After you've been running for 3 days, and I know some people like to run alone. That's their thing. That's how they run. That's what they like. But if you, for me on the marathon, I need all the people. I need all the friends. I'd never started without people. You know,
I wouldn't.
Allow me to retort.
You did though.
Allow me to retort.
Yeah,
there was a reason why I started in D and didn't fall back to Jeans Corral, and it was because of my daughter. I told him she wasn't feeling well, and I told him the reason why. And I said, we're going to start because she's scared she gets swept, and I don't want her to get swept on the first marathon. I said, we're going to go really slow, and I don't know why they must have stopped. I don't know what they were doing, because when they did catch up with us, this is how our reunion was. Instead of it being a reunion of joy and peace, I'm on one side of the street and Gene's on the other side, and I just hear I said, hey, Gene, woo, mean Gene. And all I hear him yell is, you're dead to me. That was yelled out. And he says it like 3 or 4 times. You're dead to me. You're dead to me. And somebody next to me said, what did you do him? I'm like, but
I will say,
if they were running, and Gene called to me and says, Sarah was running, and so I was running. We didn't stop, and they had somebody, because when he sent me a mile picture, he had somebody new with him, and I was like, "Who's this lady you're running with?" So she's in all the pictures, and I'm telling him, I'm like, "So, dude, you had 2 people you were running with. I mean, why are you mad at me like that?" And I said, but look,
I don't know. I wasn't even going to go the dang race, till I got harassed into it.
Kevin, let me tell you something. Hold on. I saw both of them separately. So we were leaving Animal Kingdom when they were coming in. First, we see Lonnie and Katie, and then we're like, my group, we're all like, well, where's Gene? Where's Gene? This isn't good. Where's Gene? Where's Gene? We're all kind of freaking out. Then we see Gene and Sarah, and Gene's like, Lonnie left us. And that's all.
I cussed him for 21 miles. I'm telling you, I said, he's dead to me.
Everybody,
that'll last 5 minutes.
Said to me, Gene's not too happy with you. He's looking for you.
I told the lizards to trip him. I said, when you go to the next place, you see Lonnie Gaines, you trip him, okay? Because he talks me into, twists my arm, harasses me, leaves nasty messages on my voicemail about not doing dopey, and then I sign up and I've got truncated training. I whiz through training. So look, I'm not my best here, but I'm there, right? And what does my buddy do? What does my ride or die I did my first race with, who I never would even be there if it wasn't for him. And then he uses his daughter as an excuse. Can you believe that? That is just that. How low is that?
Hey,
gaslight me with his daughter.
He ran with Sarah. He married with this new person, this new lady that they found. So he had more support than I had. It was just me and Katie. So he had more support than I had. And this is the thing when he caught up.
Sarah's running at a pace like, dude, she kept us on track, dude.
So what kind of pace did you guys do?
I
was like a 9-minute mile or something. No.
I was like, dude,
are you kidding?
You catch us faster because you're running like crazy. And yet they must have did something. He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Sarah wouldn't stop to the bathroom.
He's like,
I wish Sarah was here to hear all this. I mean, she'll hear it obviously. But,
he's like, he's like, and
I'm not throwing Sarah on the bus.
So then he started walking in front of us when he caught us. I was like, dude, why are you walking so fast? He's like, I gotta go. I said, well, you okay then.
Sarah had me on this pace, man. I couldn't bring my heart rate down.
So marathon, of course, you're going through all 4 parks. It's Disney. It's fun. A lot of characters for the marathon.
Clearly, you're going through all 4 emotions too. You know.
I mean, I think we came up with some more emotions because Gene actually had a lot of hate in his emotions because he's yelling at people to trip me and he's yelling across the street.
Speaking of getting yelled at, so this we rode Everest on mile 17 and then mile 21, right before you take that turn to do the little loop-de-loop all through the death march of Blizzard Beach. There's a car heading into Coronado Springs. This car rolled down their window and cussed us out, screaming at us, a driver in a car. That's never happened to me before. And all these people were all like, that is the most un-Disney thing that's ever happened. I mean, this guy is not very nice words. I'm just going to say that. So that was an interesting thing that happened to us. And
he came from Universal.
Yes, he did. And I will say, I thought Blizzard Beach this year was probably the worst it's ever been. There wasn't one character in there at all. And for me, I need that. I need something to look forward to in there. They had a DJ, which whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, a mile mark in there.
Yeah, but I need a give me, I don't care what character it is. Give me the orange bird that puffs out the orange bird.
Whoa, not one my mouth.
That's pushing it.
They had Frozone while you're going in there. Look, that's perfect. You're going to the Blizzard Beach and they had Frozone right outside before you went in there. And then coming out of there, you had Boat. So you had some characters. I mean,
nothing in there, nothing in that torture march. So
well, but in the torture march, they were giving away jelly beans, and they were so they had those, and they had the mile marker and the DJ.
So the jelly beans were frozen like marbles on the ground too, probably all slick and sticky.
Anyway.
It got nice and warm at that point.
Okay,
but they were hard and earlier there, and those bananas were very hard.
And then you leave Blizzard Beach, you're in Hollywood Studios. I think maybe your pinky toe is in Hollywood Studios.
Barely,
and you're out of there.
And
that. No characters in Hollywood Studios this year, and no PhotoPass photographer in Hollywood Studios.
Oh, really?
So that was interesting.
So no photographer from Hollywood Studios all the way to Epcot?
Well, they had one, I think, when you run on a little small piece of strip.
Oh yeah,
from Tower of Terror, they had one right there.
Okay.
And then, but it was so quick because you went down halfway down the street, you veered to the left, and then you went right out. You went backstage for a second, and you popped out. But then, while we were going through there, I had several people just yell out, "Hey, we love the podcast," and we didn't have nothing duck on, so that was kind of crazy. Probably was the same person because we only have 3 listeners, so they probably yelled and then went to another spot. Yelled.
I will say, I forgot to give a shout. We did see Donnie, who we saw. He's a listener of the show.
And Marie?
Donnie and Marie.
He saw us Saturday and gave us a big shout out and yelled out to people to listen to the show. So thank you, Donnie. Anyway, so that was our Blizzard Beach experience. It was rather interesting. And then Hollywood Studios. Did you guys survive that? Gene, you were with Lonnie at that point in time?
Yes. We were tied to the hip at that point. We were good to go.
Yep. Sarah did say, she said, he'll be dead to you for like 5 minutes. And
Sarah's wise.
We made up.
Yeah. And then guess what? And then we finished the race that was set out before us.
Boardwalk friends, lots of lizards at the boardwalk.
A lot of lizards at the boardwalk. Went to Epcot. Kevin came in a different way of Epcot for this one as well.
No margaritas.
You didn't run by the margarita cart and all that.
I saw that.
There were people getting drinks. There were people buying beer and stuff here and there.
Went out.
So you didn't go through World Showcase at all?
Very little. Very little.
Just South America.
Boom, boardwalk, just very
South
little.
America.
But let me tell you something. Now, one thing they had this time, which was pretty cool, the choir was there for all 4 races. So look, that was good. And at the marathon, when we started to go by the choir, they started singing "We Are the Champion," and that's at mile 26 because the mile marker is right by them. Well, my daughter does a cartwheel right in front of the choir. The choir goes crazy because she's doing cartwheels. We got the 26 mile one right there. We took that picture, and we rolled out and we finished this race.
That's awesome.
Gene got his redemption, right? He got his dopey.
Congratulations, guys.
Best time ever. PR'd it. I mean,
Oh, wow.
Well, he
not by
PR'd
much.
in fun.
PR'd it. Always PR'd fun. But I mean, it really was the fastest one. But I mean,
Mhm.
only by 10 minutes, but still,
That's a lot.
it was good.
My
we-
fish was a little different. We went by the boardwalk, saw the lizards. Right before you turn by the Skyliner, I got to see Beth Johnson. I gave her a huge hug, and I gave her this hug, and I said, "I don't want to do this anymore, Beth." And the people behind her heard it, and they were just cracking up laughing. I was like, "I'm just done. I don't want to do this anymore." We got to see Mike Rallman from the Be Our Guest podcast.
Mhm.
He was cheering at Epcot. So that was fun. All held hands over the finish line. And this is the funniest thing that happened to me. We finished the finish line. I stopped my watch. Would you guys believe that my watch had the audacity to tell me that I was unproductive that day?
I
Inconceivable.
remember you saying that.
Yeah, that would be a strongly worded AI generated email to Garmin.
Unproductive is what my watch told me. I was like,
That's crazy.
you are so rude.
You should have ran. Yeah, the watch said run a little faster.
Yeah, guess so. Anyway.
So yeah, so that was it. Got the medals. Gene, you got your dopey medal close by.
Can you see it? They're all hung up. Everything's. I did it like second day I was home. Hung it all up. I got one spot left on there. I can only run one more race.
There it is. But look, Jody got
What
hers.
does this medal do?
Oh, there it goes.
That's cool.
It opens.
It opened.
Yep.
It opens.
Hey, one of the things that I wanted to say was that Sarah made this point after we were running by Blizzard Beach and we saw y'all, and that was just encouraging to see y'all. She said that really gave her a boost of energy. And then every time we saw, like I said, just like in the half, when we saw the lizards that were on the course, and we saw Sarah's parents, and that's. It's just an encouragement along the way. It might not seem like much, but you stop for a minute, you take some pictures, you make some jokes, you got some people telling you great job, even if it's people you don't know. It's just such a help. It's such an encouragement, but especially when it's people you know. So that's just a big deal, and it really helped me along this race. And I know Sarah made a point to say that it really helped her.
Yeah.
And I'll make one more point. When we crossed the finish line, and I don't know, Gene, you remember this. This lady came up to us and said, because at that time my daughter was calling out the intervals, right? So and the lady came up and said, she says, "I want to thank you guys because y'all got me." And Gene does good at this too, because Gene was talking to people, and we came across some people, and they were crying. This one lady was crying that Gene talked to because she was doing her first marathon, first dopey, and Gene's like, "Look, we're at mile 25 and a half a mile, you'll be a marathon." And she started crying more. But when we crossed the finish line, this other lady came up and she was like, "Hey, we want to thank you." She told my daughter to, she said, because I ran the last bit of the race, like a mile with you guys, because I was running y'all intervals. She said, "So y'all got me across the finish line." We were like, "You should have came up and joined the group," but she just, kind of stayed back a little bit, but just followed our run walk interval to get to the finish line. And that's always cool, right? So that was, to Gene's point, they say, and I don't know who they is, but
those people,
those people, that being the computer, saying that's less than 0.01% of the world's population of marathoners. And you take that, it is a fraction of that are dopey finishers, right? Because you got to be a little dopey to run a 5K, 10K, half and a full, right? So, and usually you'll see the same people run dopey. Not a lot of new people run dopey like talking about, right? You just don't, because they got to, number one, fight to get in to register, and fight off all other dopey runners that's in there. But they did have new people, right? And so as you see this new people, like the girl that Gene talked to, who was crying, and other people we came up on, and we would just start yelling at people at mile 25. It's like, you got a mile left and you're going to be a marathoner. You're going to be in the elite group of people, right? So it was awesome, right? And no better place to finish than at America's Family Fun Palace.
That's right. Hey, and you mentioned that you saw a person in a picture that you didn't recognize when I was sending you pictures. Well, so when we were in the corral beforehand, just talk to people. Hey, I noticed lady by herself, and right behind Sarah and I said, "Hey, how you feeling? You ready?" And she's like, "Yeah." And we start talking. I said, "Where are you from?" She says, "I'm from Louisiana." I said, "Hey, funny enough, so am I." And she said, "You're lying." And I said, "No, really." And she's from Monroe, which is about an hour and a half down the road. And so she ran with us for the first couple of miles, and we lost her. And then we caught, another mile or so down the road, I think a bathroom or some reason we lost her. But then we were only missing. She was only missing for like a mile, and she ran the rest of the race with us. She said some really nice things about Sarah and I on Facebook, and we connected, and she joined. I just saw where she joined Disney with the Ducks, and she's actually going to do the Dumbo Challenge. She's never run a marathon, just like we did. First marathon was Dopey, and she was very well trained. Like, she's ready to go. She did really, really well. But it's just encouraging. I really enjoy running this with people who've never done it before, and being able to encourage people along the way. It helps encourage me to be able to encourage other people and see other people celebrating, doing something that they did not think was possible. You get to a point where you're like, yeah, I can do this. It's possible. But when somebody first tells you about this, you're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I can't do that. Nobody can do that. I mean, how many people have told you that? How do you do that? That's crazy. There's something about doing something that you thought was not possible.
That's right.
And it's cool to be able to do that with people.
It's someone said that, I don't think it was, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to quote the person, but finding comfort is basically, was equating it to the body's attempt to age or aging. So as you age, your body wants to get comfortable, right? So the way to fight back that aging basically is to do hard things, right? Train, to run. That's how you keep yourself young. That's how you keep yourself motivated. So now he didn't say that part. He said seeking comfort is the body's adaptation to age, or something to that effect. But hey, we do hard things. That's why we do them, right? So we're doing what people say is crazy, or what they say you shouldn't do. Because my daughter even said, when she told everybody she was running her first Dopey, the first thing everybody was saying is, "You think that might not be wise. You're gonna mess your knees up. That's a lot of running." And she just stayed positive and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." Right. So you're right, Gene. It's different. We do hard things, and that's what it's about. So marathon weekend, it was awesome. Best part of it, got a chance to hang out with some great friends. We quacked along and waddled for 4 days. Well, in the parks 4 days, 5 days. We got there Tuesday. I don't know. It's a blur. This is the one thing I will say though. The whole time I kept trying to get Gene to use antibacterial lotion. The whole time he kept saying that. And he said this. And Jody can be he said, "Jody, you're the witness." Gene said, "That's the problem with you. You keep using
people
antibacterial and you kill all the bacteria, and then you get sick." Well, he said that. You notice Gene's been coughing this episode. So Gene got back and he was sick. And it's funny, he was saying how sick he was. And my daughter, the first thing she said was, "Man, he should have used that antibacterial to try to give him." Out your mouth, babes. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are going to end with our favorite part, which we always do, which is quacking up with the Ducks. Jody B, can you quack us up tonight?
Yeah, I can. So, marathons bring out the good and the ugly, and happy and joy. We're talking about people who are crying and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you see all sorts of things, and we actually, saw someone get sick on the course. I mean, and we're kind of trying to laugh about it though, because it's a running gag.
We used to get sick on the course. I was thinking, I don't know.
Gosh.
Kevin, can you make us laugh, sir? Quack us up.
All right. So I hadn't been running a lot, but over the Christmas break, I took the kids to Kennedy Space Center. It was pretty fun. So I've got an astronaut joke. So what's an astronaut's favorite key on the keyboard?
I don't know.
The space bar.
Ah,
Nice.
Nice.
Gene, quack us up, sir.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can quack you up. I just, electric cars they're a thing, Teslas and such. Got that new Cybertruck, and I'm just curious when people are in that vehicle, what do they listen to? Do they listen to AC/DC or something current?
That's a good one. Hey, guys, I have a question for you. Why do melons have weddings?
Weddings? I did not know that they did.
Why
do they have
do
weddings?
why do melons have weddings?
Why do they?
Because they can't elope. Cantaloupe, get it?
Cantaloupe.
Very funny.
Nice.
So, look, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know we had fun talking about Marathon Weekend. If you want to participate, actually, registration, I think, is in March this year. So it's only right around the corner. If you want to register again, it's a little earlier.
Golly,
So
man.
get yourself together. You have an opportunity to run with Kevin, Jody, and Gene for Adobe 2026. But hey, a lot of things were said, right? Gene talked about bullying and leaving people and all that kind of good stuff, being dead to people. That really had to probably perk the lawyers up. So, Gene, what did the lawyers say about tonight's episode?
The previous podcast recap was brought to you by mile markers, mid-race selfies, and the sheer stubbornness required to finish 26.2 magical miles. Listener side effects may include spontaneous race registrations, intense mental envy, and debates over whether anyone actually needs to stop for that many character photos. Hosted once again by Jody, Lonnie, and Gene, and Kevin, this episode dives into the highs, lows, and everything in between of the half and full marathons. For the marathon, Lonnie, in true frontrunner fashion, started in Corral D. Gene, however, began in Corral F, joined by the ever-gracious Sarah, who kindly dropped back to keep him company. Lonnie, he stayed comfortably up ahead, leaving Gene and Sarah to chase him down for 21 long miles. Fueled by sheer grit, teamwork, and possibly a little spite, Gene and Sarah finally caught Lonnie, who naturally played it cool, like he'd been waiting for them the whole time. Please note, no ducks were harmed in the making of this podcast, though some egos may have been bruised, legs thoroughly wobbled, and toenails lost. Results may vary based on training, hydration strategies, and whether or not you're stuck chasing Lonnie from corral to corral. If you experience uncontrollable laughter, metal shopping, or the urge to join the next Disney Marathon weekend, lace up those running shoes and waddle along with us. Thanks for cracking through the miles with Disney with the Ducks.
Nice. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget, get ready to register. Some races coming up. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, friends.
Hello. Hello. Is it me you're looking for?